So about an hour ago, Linda and I were still on the highway. Linda was taking a nap on the right side, and I was looking ahead for campsites, someplace to spend the evening. And I got on I have a Garmin RV 780, and to help with navigation. And I was looking on iOverlander on there, and it said free campsites, free hot showers, 14 miles. Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is St. Francis, Kansas, and it's true. Free hot showers and free campsites.
Anyways, it just worked out for us tonight. We thought we'd tell you about it. So we're in the northwestern corner of Kansas, in the middle of, well, I won't say the middle of nowhere. We're in St. Francis.
Yeah.
Well, Linda and I are in the town of Kit Carson, Colorado. And we stopped at the Kit Carson Museum. It's Saturday, but they're closed. But we're familiar with that because, like in small towns in Montana, the museums don't have the staffing to stay open on the weekends when people are actually traveling. But anyway, that's too bad. This is the camping area that Linda and I ended up with. We're just south of La Junta, Colorado. This is an area known as Tempest. It's on the Santa Fe Trail. It's a picnic site where you're allowed to spend the night. So we had a really, really hard time finding a place to stay tonight. Nothing worked out. To stay at, go ahead, Linda.
There's lots of places to stay, but they don't meet our criteria.
Yeah, like which don't cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
And so many of these places, like state wildlife area, state park, all of that's all around. There's plenty of campsites, but you got to have the yearly pass and everything. And we're spending one night in Colorado. We don't need to buy a yearly pass. Very user unfriendly that way, but this place works. This is more our style anyway. We're hiking out just a short distance from where we're parked to the actual Santa Fe Trail. On the way here, we stopped at Bent's Old Fort, which is one of my favorite places. I wanted to show it to you, but it's a National Historic Landmark, and I was going to have to try to get permission to video in there, which normally requires an expensive permit. And I was just going to ask them if it'd be okay, see if we could get permission. We got there at 4 o'clock, and I thought, well, that's okay. All I need is an hour, half an hour even, just want to introduce it to you folks and show you inside. They close daily at 4 o'clock. What kind of hours is that? Oh, well. But anyways, the second level is all deteriorated, so they can't let you up there anymore. But I'm hoping they get that fixed, because that was all of the living quarters, it was the second level, and then down below was all of the shops, like the blacksmith and the saddle maker and all those shops, and the dining hall and everything was down the lower level. It's really cool to see, even if you can't get to the upper level. So if you ever make your way out near La Junta, Colorado, which means the junction, be sure you go to Bent's Fort. It's well worth the trip. And if you're our age and you have the America the Beautiful Pass, it's actually free admission. Well, over here behind me, you can see what's actually the railroad. The railroad went in here in 1870, and that did away with the Santa Fe Trail. Wasn't needed anymore. Definitely go faster by train than you could by wagon. Well, this marks the Santa Fe Trail, and I can see them extending out into the distance out here. You can hike that. There, in 3.7 miles, there's an overlook out there, but this is the actual trail. And the reason the trail comes this way is Tempest Creek is over here on the left side, so they had a water source here. Well, I'm glad that Linda and I didn't find any place to camp around La Junta, because this is much more to our liking. This is the kind of place we usually end up by choice. And we took it as a last resort. We were ready to stop, but then we ended up driving south of town on 358, or I think that's the highway number here, but anyways, this worked out. We look up campsites on freecampsites.net a lot, but that doesn't always work out because, for example, they'll fail to mention that you need a Colorado fishing license to be able to stay. So, you know, they'll say, oh yeah, there's free camping and you just head 21 miles out of town to the state wildlife, you know, area or something like that. And you get out there and there's a sign, Colorado fishing license required for overnight stays. You got to watch out with freecampsites.net. That happens. So be careful with freecampsites.net. Don't count on it. There's these low, like 6x8s in the ground, sticking up out of the ground. There's a lot of old broken glass here. There's a row of those posts sticking up. Roll of old barbed wire. Don't know what this was out here. Could have been part of an old corral or something, but I don't know why they would have lopped those posts off like that. Old tin of some kind down here. Looks like an old paint can. Lots of different colors of glass and even some really old rusted bottle caps. Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola, I think so.
Yeah, it's that color. Oh, it's just what it says. I see cola.
Yeah, and part of a bowl.
Yeah, something.
I can see how this area became part of the Dust Bowl. You know, it's the wind blows through here, and with nothing to hold the soil down, off it goes.
Hot, dry area.
Yep.
What happened is the farmers came out here and they had one method of farming. So they plowed and they planted. And what they did was when they plowed, they destroyed all the grasses, the roots of the grasses. And then with this dry wind, the crops they planted couldn't hold the soil. So you can see the plowing going on here. And I don't know if you can tell by this on the video here, but this was corn, but it's all windswept and blown away. And this became a major part of the Dust Bowl in this area. And it just destroyed everything. And by the 1930s, they were gone. It was full-on Dust Bowl and nobody growing anything you couldn't. It was just all dust blowing through here. Now it's been kind of restored with all the native grasses back and other things. But
Well, God knew what he was doing when he made this whole area full of prairie grass. It was to hold the soil down.
yeah, and it does that very well.
Yeah.
We'll show you something else when we get back to where we're camped. You see the low rock walls surrounding the picnic area here, but the rock wall was built back in, I think, 1935 for the District Soil Conservation Office, which sat right here in the middle of it. So the only thing sheltering us from the wind is the walls of that little trailer, and I sure am glad that we've got it.
Don't forget these pillars.
Yeah.
I'm too fat.
You know, we've got thousands and thousands of miles on this little trailer. We've been down some of the roughest roads, into some pretty remote areas, and being all welded construction, it just takes us everywhere, and we haven't had any real problems with it at all. That being said, I got a comment today from some idiot telling me I should get rid of this blasted thing and get myself a real camper. That just cracked me up. What is a real camper anyway? I kind of thought this was it. I'm sure you've been seeing in the video here for the last few minutes this massive cell, and I'm trying to determine if it's coming our way or not. Most likely. Seems to be getting bigger, and it's also extending over this way. Yeah, we might get hit. Hope there's no large hail in it. There's a pretty big anvil over there too. Beautiful, but treacherous. This is all part of the Santa Fe Trail down through here. It's beautiful country. Our plan is to drop down into northern New Mexico, travel through Taos. Lots of mountains, very windy road. Should be plenty of places to camp and enjoy though. Anybody know why those telephone lines are so short? Those poles only look to be about 20 feet tall over there. Linda mentioned you only see that next to the railroad with the really short poles. Sorry for the wind noise. We've got the windows open. It's more pleasant than air conditioning sometimes. We get out on stretches of road like this and we don't want it to end. It's just so pleasant. It's just pretty quiet, very, very little traffic, and just beautiful scenery. Something you can expect when you travel out west like this. When you get out into the just the 2-lane roads, you know, you get off the highway and you take the routes less traveled and you're going to find things like this. Well, so far on this trip, Linda and I haven't stayed in one spot for more than one night, except for one time. And it's because the whole purpose when we leave Montana in the springtime is to get down to where the evenings are pleasantly warm, where you can stay outside and watch the stars and everything. And we haven't hit that yet. It's been kind of cool in the evenings, hasn't it, Linda?
Yeah, it's been really kind of chilly. Not cold chilly, but it's not comfortable to sit out in the evening, except for that one evening where we saw the Northern Lights.
Right. Yeah, that was one nice evening, and coincidentally, that was in Montana still. Maybe we need to go back to Montana.
Yeah, I was in Forsyth.
Then last night we had strong thunderstorms gathering all around us, and we had one just to the west of us that was sucking up so much air that it created high winds. And then later on, when it was dissipating, it dumped all that wind the opposite direction back on us. We actually had to turn the outfit around so it was facing into the wind then. But then the night was pretty peaceful. It was real quiet.
Yeah.
Woke up to the birds singing this morning, which is really pleasant. I don't know that I would have wanted to fight in one of those. You were a target. The enemy just wanted to take you out. But fight they did. Well, we just stopped here at the Pinyon Canyon Maneuver Site. It's where the U.S. Army trains. Well, one of the areas where they train. They put great emphasis on preserving the land. It says they train in one area for a period of time, and then to give the land time to heal itself, they'll totally close that area off and then go train in a different area, let that other place go for years to repair itself. They mentioned that it's a lot like the buffalo herds that would totally destroy an area and overgraze it and then move off to a different area, and then that area would come back to normal over a period, you know. Well, I thought that was a decent analogy for what they're trying to do here to conserve the land. Well, from Colorado, we got on I-25 for just 20 miles or so and came down into Raton, New Mexico, and we've turned west on Highway 64 across the very top of New Mexico. And I know this gets into mountainous regions, and it's all beautiful going through here. Very little traffic on this highway. We're heading for Cimarron Canyon State Park. We had good luck with New Mexico campgrounds last year when we were traveling through the southern part of this state, and we're hoping nothing has changed. They were very reasonable, so we'll see what it's like now. We're going to be camping at an elevation of 7,500 feet.
So we're looking for a campsite today, and it's been a little difficult because we're looking for a campsite that gives us protection from the wind, and it's pretty windy.
It's really windy. It's like the kind that wants to blow you over out there. It's difficult to walk in it. Yeah, just something that has some shelter, and we got our fingers crossed for this state park that's coming up. We'll see what it's like, and we'll show you.
Yeah.
And tell you how much it, yeah, keep your fingers crossed. Yeah. And tell you how much it costs too. This area is called Cimarron Canyon. Sign back there said no overnight parking next 6 miles. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this campground that we're approaching.
Yeah, why would they have a sign for no overnight parking alongside this narrow highway anyway?
When there's a lot of turnouts. And roads and places where you could go camp. So yeah, bad feeling about this. Oh, it's pretty up in here.
Yeah, we're going up because my ears are popping.
Yeah, we're going up.
Well, that's why I didn't want to camp too far up, because if you look up, the mountains still have snow.
Oh, that's right. There is snow up
so that
higher
means it's
elevations.
Still cool up there.
Okay, so far, this is the second campground that we've pulled into up here, and so far, reservations are required. New Mexico is doing okay, because what happened was, this is a regular campground, and most of the sites are reservation only, but some of the sites aren't. And the ones that aren't are only $10 a night. It's really reasonable. No reservation fee or anything, so it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just on our way up to the front to pay. And pulling in here, we had a fellow wave us down, and he says, "Hey, I recognize you guys." He and his wife have been watching the channel. Sam and Sam.
From Tucumcari, Arizona.
Yeah. Anyways, we're camped right near them. We're going to enjoy their company this evening, I'm sure. A few weeks ago, I did a video where I showed me using this Cactoily water tester, and I also did a review on it. And I've been using it a lot on this trip, and testing all the water that we've been loading into our jugs on the trailer. And I don't just review equipment, we actually use the equipment that we review. So, and let you know how it's doing. And this is doing really well, but there's something I want to clear up about this, because all hiking filters will test poor. The water quality will be poor when you test it with this. I just want to give you a heads up on that. And the reason being that hiking filters are designed to remove Giardia and leptospirosis and E. coli and things like that. But a lot of other things do get through the hiking filter that'll make it test poor. It's not dangerous. It's just, it's not as good as city water. This is for testing wells and even lakes and streams and anything like that where you might be getting your water. Now, my water at home tests average to good. I saw average one day, and that is not very good, but it's most of the time it tests good. On our run down here, we were refilling on city water, and 3 different city waters, and they all tested excellent. I wish my water at home would test excellent, but it doesn't. And then in this particular campground where we're at in New Mexico, the water tested poor. But if you look at the scale that I'm putting on the screen right now, look in the column that says TOC. That's total organic carbon. And the water here tests 7.5. And if you see at the bottom, anything from 5 to 12.5, and you go over to the right side, it says poor. Well, that is poor if you're comparing it to what you should be getting in city water, but it's actually safe. This water here, I asked the campground manager, I says, when was this water last tested? He said, well, just last Friday, and it tested good. I said, oh, good. So it's considered safe to drink. Now, here's my recommendation. You see, hiking filters test at about 10 to 14, and they all test poor. So the total organic carbon comes through a hiking filter is like 10 to 14 parts per million, and that's still considered safe. So when you're using this, if you bought one of these are excellent. By the way, this thing is accurate as heck. But when you're using it, as long as it doesn't go over that like hiking filter range of TOC, or total organic carbon, of 14, you're safe. If it goes above that, you're going to want to filter that water, through at least through a hiking filter to get it down to the safe level again, Basically, if you stick this in a stream or a lake, or some water source from a faucet that you don't trust, and it tests yellow, which is average, to red, which is poor, you're going to want to filter the water. Once again, basically it's the total organic carbon is safe if it's 14 parts per million or less. That's hiking filter safe or less, okay? Just wanted to share that with you because, I did review this and I want to tell you how it's working. It's working good. You look like you're cold.
What, me? No. Look, I have exposed legs. Yes, it's cold. But we're getting ready to head out, maybe get out of the chill and the wind, but we'll see where we end up.
Yeah, Linda and I have been camped in Cimarron State Park, New Mexico. It's one of 3 campgrounds in Cimarron State Park, and we're in the middle one. We're at about 7,500 feet. The days are very pleasant. You can smell the pines. There's great fishing here. But it's cold at night and in the mornings. So the idea is to head out of here and head down to some lower elevation where it's a little more, well, we left Montana because it was cold. So we're heading over towards Taos. Taos is only like, 30 or 40 miles from here. And from there, we don't know if we're gonna hook up kind of northerly a little bit into southern Colorado and then over into Utah, or if we're gonna head south from Taos and kind of get down into Arizona. We'll find out in another hour or 2.
Well, the nice thing about being up here is we met 2 of the nicest people in this campground named Sam and Sand. And they come up here every year. They call this their second home. They love it here. I can see why. But we're getting ready to go. Aren't we, Rick?
Yeah, I'm about ready to hitch up.
Okay.